Another thing we get for Christmas, I think, is college football. Now, I've gone back and forth on this, but like, how do you feel about all these bowl games happening right now?
You're talking about the ones happening today between teams we don't care about, or you mean just in general in the COVID world?
Take it any direction you want to go.
Well, the undercard this year is better than it's been, I think, in a long time. We've got like Coastal versus Liberty, which is a game that was scheduled that didn't happen, that gave us Coastal BYU, which was strangely, tell us back in August or back in the off season, hey, one of the most intriguing games of the off season is going to be Coastal BYU. And that was one of the games we cared about the most this year, besides our own teams. And we've got, several of those type games happening in the undercard, and I'm pretty excited about that. A lot of the other games, the New Year's Six games, are a bunch of matchups I'm not really that interested in, to be honest.
No, and that's a good point. Like, thinking about how BYU Coastal Carolina still reverberates, right? Because Coastal Carolina is still undefeated. If BYU if they don't take that game, they're probably undefeated. And after they beat Central Florida so terribly badly last night, we're all asking the question of how good is Coastal Carolina? It's like the thing that I took away from the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl, which, my God, okay, is that Central Florida usually puts up 50. Doesn't matter who they're playing, right? They put up 50. They go score. And they had not been beaten that badly since Josh Heupel took over the squad. And even before then, you're undefeated with Scott Frost. But I also was thinking about it from the standpoint of Brigham Young in that, Zach Wilson had 353 yards passing in the first half. And the defense looked way better than I thought they had any right to look. So I'm looking at BYU going, yep, see, I told you if you go play somebody, you're probably going to get beat down. But if you'd have told me that BYU would have played Central Florida and not Coastal Carolina, I would have picked Central Florida in that game. So, when you talk about the Cure Bowl, Liberty versus Coastal, I did a little bit of research. Did you know that Liberty and Central Florida are two of the largest universities in the country?
I knew that Central Florida was. Mm-hmm. I did not know that about you said Liberty?
Yeah. Lynchburg has a 47,000 undergrad enrollment.
I did not know that.
Right. So, them getting good in a hurry makes a lot of sense, right? In the same way that Central Florida being good makes a lot of sense. I have to remind people that Dante Culpepper went to Central Florida, right? Among other things. But then you look at FIU, they have one of the largest undergraduate populations in the country too. And, Butch Davis might get fired. So there's a lot going on there. But I say that to say, wouldn't we have loved to have seen Brigham Young versus Liberty with, an undefeated season on the line? Because something about religion and our football, we hate until we get Notre Dame and BYU, or we get BYU and Liberty. And I'm throwing Liberty in there because, Jerry Falwell's university. So all that to say, I'm with you on the undercard and it being good. I even had fun watching Appalachian State versus North Texas to start this thing off. The other thing that I was looking forward to is, as much as we talk noise about it, I really want to see some of these matchups that the Big 12 is involved in and the SEC is involved in. So the Texas Bowl, I think it's Texas Christian versus Arkansas. I think that's good. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Texas versus Colorado, because I've seen Colorado exactly one time, and it was the loss they took to Utah. But now we got, this just came out. You're going to love this. Sam Ehlinger doesn't know if he's coming back or not.
I want to be a fly on the wall of Texas fans and media and players just reading that stuff. What a weird thing. They love the guy.
Yeah.
He could be mayor of Austin, yet they just cannot wait for him to go. It's the same as Landry Jones, right?
Ooh, there's a good comp. Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. But he doesn't have the charisma, right? That was always the thing that bothered me the most about Landry. It wasn't that he was slow. It was that he had nothing to say. ever. And as a guy covering the beat at the time, I would look in envy at people that got to cover Baker. Or like, here's one. When Oklahoma played Texas A&M in the Cotton Bowl in 2012, Johnny Manziel is opposite Landry Jones. And Johnny Manziel had not been allowed to talk at all per Kevin Sumlin's freshman rule. But at the bowl games, you have to make all of the kids available. So Johnny got his own table, right? Like most quarterbacks do. And I swear to you, nobody went over there to talk to Landry at all. The scrum was like 40 deep of people with their tape recorders out looking for a quote from Johnny Manziel. And Johnny had all the things to say. And I can't imagine how much fun that is. And Landry was over there just kind of surfing his phone for a little bit until, the 20 minutes were up and he got to go. But Sam has all these cool things to say about the University of Texas and about how he feels about the University of Texas. And yet, I wouldn't want him to return. Especially since you saw Jaquindon Jackson go to Texas. You saw go to Utah. You saw Cam Rising go to Utah. Charlie Brewer's going to Utah. So you're down to Casey Thompson and Hudson Card. And Casey Thompson thought about 100% transferring last year and didn't. So, what do you tell Casey Thompson if Sam Ehlinger comes back, I guess is the question.
Yeah. That's tough because he's waited his turn. And we've seen Ehlinger's ceiling. He's a nice quarterback. He had a great career at Tulsa. But was he going to come back next year and be better? What are we going to see different?
Nothing. Nothing at all. And I think that is the thing that I would be most frustrated about if I was a Texas fan. It's like, nothing changes at all with this guy at quarterback. But then again, do you get that much better with Casey Thompson? And I guess the question is, do you want to find out? Right? And in that way, it's not unlike seeing Trevor Knight as your quarterback at Oklahoma. So much so that when Baker got an opportunity, you look shaky against Tennessee. People are like, don't you dare put Trevor Knight back in there, Lincoln's first year. All right, so Tanner Mordecai transfers to Southern Methodist. He gives an interview where he says, among other things, one of the reasons I wanted to transfer away, and SMU was at the top of the list to help that, he has a connection there in that Lincoln's brother Garrett is the offensive coordinator at SMU, said, I can start. I'm a starter, but a guy that's younger than me won the starting job. What do you expect me to do? Which I thought was really self-aware and quite honest and refreshingly honest. Because what do you expect him to do, right? Do you expect him to sit there? Especially when you got Caleb Williams signed and coming in? What's he supposed to do? I feel like this was how we were talking about Drew Allen years ago. But still, I think that he has an opportunity at SMU to be good because Shane Buechele got ran out of Texas and became, something of a folk hero at SMU with what he's been able to do the last 2 years. Is he going to be a good pro? Probably not. But you should have an opportunity to start. Where are you at with the Tanner Mordecai situation?
I saw enough of Mordecai to think he looks like he could be a decent, above-average group of 5 starter. A place like SMU that throws the ball around a lot, has a good system. He's a smart guy. He looked very capable in the OU system. I felt like if Rattler missed the Baylor game or something like that, Mordecai could have probably come in and won that game. I don't think Mordecai is nearly as good as Rattler or anything like that, but he seemed like a decent, capable backup. I'm happy for him. I'm glad he's transferring for his sake. He has no chance to see the field the next ever at OU. And he can start SMU, have a good year. It's a reason why I'll turn on SMU games and watch him play next year. I think he'll do fine. I think it's a good move. I'm for kids. That's what the portal's for.
Right.
It's for kids like that they gave it their all. They loved the university, and they just weren't as good as the other guy. In this case.
And you're right. Because I love doing the look back, right? I'm into recruiting. So it's to say Tanner Mordecai commits a week before Spencer Rattler commits. But Mordecai was the third option for Lincoln because you can make an argument that Cam Rising was first. Right. Rising was first, and then Casey Thompson. And Casey wasn't ready to make a decision. And that's how you end up with the twofer at Texas because you're not going to turn him down. And then Mordecai's like, can I come up there? And he's like, look, I got this other kid just coming in right behind you. Is this what you want? And he said, yeah. And you know what? It went about the way you would expect it to go. Now, on the other hand, if you think that you're a Power 5 quarterback or you think you're a Power 5 player, you want to go give it a shot. But I always tell the kids when they ask me, and they don't ask me all the time, but when they ask me, what should I do? I say, go where you're going to have a good time. Go where you're going to play. Because don't nobody want to be Mookie Cooper right now, right? And I bring up Mookie Cooper because he went into the transfer portal earlier today as a freshman at Ohio State. Didn't play a single game this year. Is he a part of a Big Ten championship team? Yeah. Is he going to watch them play in the playoff? Yeah. Does he have any fun? No. He's not playing. So I'm with you. I think that's what the portal is for. Now, kind of segueing into the Cotton Bowl here, do you think losing Mordecai and, for that matter, Pledger has any bearing on this game whatsoever beside injuries?
No, not really. I mean, if we needed, if Ramondre opts out of the Cotton Bowl, which I guess doesn't look like it's going to happen at this point, it would have become a big factor. But other than that, no. I think McGowan and or Marcus Major can provide enough punch to give Stevenson a break here and there. Mordecai, I don't see how he would have figured in.